up good behavior in front of the cameras is a must for good publicity. However, there are times when even the most calm and disciplined athletes step out of bounds. Don't believe us? Check out these 25 unexpected moments in martial arts. Before we start though, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. 25. Temper tantrum. James Butler is seen here engaging in a fight with Richard Grant. The match ends with Butler losing. Being a good sportsman, Grant walks towards him and holds out his hand in a show of good faith. At that moment though, Grant didn't realize how unhappy Butler was with the outcome. Butler replies to Grant's outstretched hand with a punch that leads to a dislocated jaw. Butler was escorted out of the ring, arrested, and charged with second-degree assault. He was eventually convicted and sentenced to 4 months in prison. That's a lot of time to think about the consequences of your bad behavior. 24. The proposal. Here's one of MMA's most romantic moments. After a match, this fighter decided that there was no better time than the present to propose to his longtime girlfriend, who also happened to be the ring girl. After a congratulatory hug from his opponent, he reaches out to get a bouquet of flowers and hands them over to her. She's clearly taken by surprise and looks really happy too. So much for being the girlfriend to a fighter. Interesting, right? 23. The unexpected kick. This sexy ring girl only realized her wardrobe malfunction once she stepped into the ring. She had a pretty tricky time walking around the canvas in her heels. Professionally, she had to put on a show knowing that she was being watched. Supporting herself with the rope and dropping her weave on the canvas wasn't all she managed to achieve though. Watch what happens next. She goes over to the rope and attempts to flip when, boom, she accidentally kicks a man standing nearby in the face. At least she wastes no time with her apology. 22. Nice gestures. This fighter decided to lighten the mood by gifting his opponent a bouquet of flowers just before the fight. This might seem inappropriate in the eyes of some onlookers, but the fighter's intentions were pure. The seemingly uptight opponent and other people nearby quickly go from tense to all smiles. Following suit, the opponent decides to open a pack of candy from a ring girl and give some back in return. Sharing really is caring. 21. A bite in the ring. What went wrong here? We bet you'll never guess. Every competitor is expected to exhibit sportsmanship-like behavior and bow out gracefully after a loss. Astrid the Tiger, however, took the law into his own hands when he decided to imitate the legendary Mike Tyson. When the Tiger realized he'd lose to his opponent, Andre Pesic, he leaned in and tried to take a bite out of his opponent's ear. Pesic's trainer later confronted Tiger with a blow that threw him off balance. They say payback is something, right? 20. The victory. No doubt one can get carried away in the heat of the moment, especially after a well-deserved victory. This fighter was clearly overjoyed when he was announced as the winner of the match. He rolled around on the floor to celebrate his victory, but got so carried away that he pulled a ring girl into his moment without her knowledge or consent. We heard he got served. 19. What is she looking at? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but sometimes people's reactions can leave everyone else scratching their heads. Case in point. What exactly is going on in the mind of this UFC ring girl? She's seen here making faces as she stares at the fighters taking off their clothes. You can practically read her mind because her reactions are so obvious. Surely she should know better, right? 18. Double groin kick. No matter how powerful a man claims to be, a kick to the family jewels is sure to bring him to his knees. Here we see the midway point in a match between Raymond Daniels and Bellator Stanikin, where Daniels launches a spin kick straight into his opponent's groin. This inappropriate act led to a 5-minute break. Stanikin eventually got back on his feet, but the match ended up as a no contest because Daniels repeated the same act again. This time, Stanikin was carried out on a stretcher. That move was below the belt, literally and figuratively. 17. No composure. Here's an interesting clip of the time Manny Pacquiao was unable to maintain his composure. He's okay with looking into the cameras, but definitely not into his opponent's eyes during his weigh-in face-to-face. This made everyone laugh. 15. Painless. Watch this fighter make fun of his opponent as he receives an endless barrage of punches from him. We don't know why he keeps making these faces as he gets punched. Still, he appears to not feel the pain supposedly inflicted on him by his opponent. So his opponent keeps at it until he finally sees results. Ouch! 14. An uncle coach. Nobody can defend you better than family. And that point is illustrated perfectly in this next clip. Darrell's coach, who's also his uncle, is seen here defending his nephew. See, the match between Jose and Darrell did not end in Darrell's favor. You can clearly see the uncle throwing punches in Darrell's defense when Darrell was ruled as being unable to continue. 13. Sad Matthew. This match between Shane and Sam Matthew took a unique turn when the latter's feelings got the best of him. As you can see, his punches were not quite yielding results, so he starts adding kicks into the mix in an attempt to bring down his opponent and win the match. The referee, however, wasn't having any of it and motioned for him to stop immediately. The angry referee held his hand up, and Matthew wrongly assumed he was the winner. Matthew then lifted his other hand up and started waving at the audience. But when his opponent's name was mentioned, he quickly realized realizes his mistake and angrily leaves the ring. 11. Adi Parianto. We can see Adi Parianto here, completely overjoyed at being declared the armbar winner at the end of a match. You can watch him during the display, going around in circles to celebrate his victory, but when he finally stops to give some commentary in a speech, watch as his arm accidentally hits the chest of the ring girl standing behind him. Although Parianto seemed genuinely unaware of his mistake, the girl looked embarrassed. Hopefully she didn't hold it against him. 10. Stripped away. Did you know that if a fighter is close to the stipulated weight, he'll be asked to take off all of his clothes before being weighed? Well, if you didn't know before, you know now. Here's the proof. A real-life fighter stripping down to get weighed. That's something you don't see every day. 9. An intimate moment. What was meant to be a face-off between these two fighters turned out to be a totally different situation. In an attempt to intimidate each other, the fighters keep staring at each other intensely and getting closer. The two share an intimate moment before the referees separate them for good, chuckling a bit to himself as he does. 8. Bending a pan. Here's a jaw-dropping moment during a weigh-in. The female fighter shows up with a frying pan and bends it to show off her strength. That's one feat that'll definitely intimidate opponents and onlookers alike. 7. Wandering eyes. In this clip, we see Michite undressing and getting ready for a match right in front of a police officer. His eyes wander up and down her body as she takes off her clothes. Stripping before a weigh-in is normal for fighters, but it's obviously not something this cop sees every day. 6. The cheat. Is it ever worth breaking the rules? We don't think so, but not everyone feels that the rules apply to them. Take this fighter for instance. He was caught taking one of his feet off during a weigh-in. It would have been a good idea if not so many people were watching. 5. An unexpected push. Here's what appears to be a well-organized red carpet moment with a brief introduction of the fighters. However, chaos breaks out when one of them is suddenly provoked and pushes his opponent in the chest. Sadly, the woman at the side seems more affected than anyone else. 4. Deontay Wilder. During this particular weigh-in, the fighter takes a moment to try out some lion moves. He roars loudly like the Lion King, scaring everyone except one woman who reacted by laughing in surprise. It seems some people enjoy being scared more than others. 3. The Demolition Man. Turning away from a fighter during a weigh-in can be a little difficult. It's even more challenging when his body is built in all the right places. This lady can't help but stare at the fighter and make faces too. Give it up for the Demolition Man, everybody. 2. Michael Pereira. Yet another weigh-in, guys. Michael Pereira celebrates his new weight with a fantastic backflip. Clearly, he's pleased with the results. 1. Another towel drop. What's with all these towel holders letting the towel drop when they clearly know the fighter is not dressed? Is this a joke? Because we're beginning to think so. What'd you think of today's video? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to check out our channel if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.